Over the past few years, my fascination for the history of photography has continued to grow into many different formats, many different cameras, and many different styles. I've recently tried a bunch of expired and discontinued film, which has been such a blast to shoot. I've also tried different formats between 35 millimeter and medium format, and I've really been itching to take on the beast. So today, I'm happy to bring you a video about 4x5 photography.
So first things first, with 4x5 film or any other large format film for that matter, when you're comparing it to 35 millimeter or 120, it's a completely different process for loading the camera. The 35 millimeter rolls and 120 rolls, you can just put right in and lock it in and you're good to go. And you get anywhere from 24 to 36 shots on 35 millimeter and anywhere from 10 to, I believe, 16 shots on 120, depending on what size of medium format you're shooting. And with large format, it all comes as sheet film. So this is a package of 10 individual negatives that go into these film holders here, which will then go into the back of the camera. So to load these, they will go into this, which is a dark bag, and it's a light type bag where you can go in and load the film without worrying about any light hitting the negative and exposing it when you don't want it to. So we're gonna do that right now and load up this couple shots of Portra 160 and we'll see how it goes.
I would say loading the film is the hardest part of the large format process because you're doing it completely blind and in the dark, and you have to make sure that the film is loaded correctly into the holder and is not exposed to light.
When you have everything set up with your film holders, everything is loaded and ready to go, you want to put together your unit. So everything that you're going to need on your shoot to, like, for me, I like everything being pretty compact so I can, walk around. If I have to, do a longer walk out to a shoot or a location that I want to photograph, I want it to be, everything to be pretty accessible. So with the Speed Graphic, you can hold it like a box. This is my little briefcase right here. And then for everything else, I have this old Canon bag that actually used to hold one of my older film cameras, SLR cameras. So I have my tripod wrapped right around the strap. I have some sort of towel or blanket that I can throw over my head for composing, so I can see the ground glass. And then in here, I actually have my film holders and my shutter cable release. So everything is all here. We're gonna take a picture of this beauty right here. Her name is Tegan. She is the family dog. And I am going to make this composition as a gift to my parents. And I'm gonna get it all printed and framed nice. So it better look good, right? So let's go ahead and set up. I'll show you what the whole process looks like.
So before you all go and start roasting me in the comments about my dollar store tripod, don't worry, I have a better one for it. For some reason, this whole video, I decided not to use it. But hey, we all learn from our mistakes. So let's just enjoy this first shot of Tegan.
Now with everything set up, you're ready to compose your image.
The most important part of this step is making sure your composition and settings are correct before closing the shutter.
So now when you have your composition set, you are going to put in your meter reading. So for me, I meter on my phone using an app called Light Meter. I'm going to shoot this Portra 160 at 40 ISO today, and it's looking like f8 at 1/100th. Now we're going to just load up a thing of film. We just slide this right in the back here. Make sure that's in there tight. And then when you're ready to go, let's cock the shutter first. All right, we'll pull this. 3, 2, 1. And there we go. And so when you expose on the film holder here, up on the top here, you'll see I leave the white side forward if it's not exposed. And for exposed photos, I flip it to the black side.
After firing off that absolutely beautiful photo of Tegan, I headed over to the next location, which was an old church in northern Tampa. And I've been wanting to shoot in this area. It's a very old part of Tampa, so there's a lot of historical architecture. And when I drove past this church, I knew I had to turn around, pull off, and take a photo of it. And I'm really happy I did, because it turned out to be one of my favorite photos from the day. After capturing that beautiful photo of the church, I popped right next door to Coastal Film Lab, where I take most of my work that I capture down here in Florida. And I had the opportunity of taking a portrait of Steven, the owner of Coastal, and was really happy I did. I didn't know if it was really going to work out in that lighting, but it actually turned out really nice and really crisp. To end the day off, I met my mom at her alma mater high school to catch their homecoming football game. And I had one sheet left of the Portra 160, and I thought, what better time than to test the Speed Graphics long exposure capabilities? So we enjoyed the first half, and right before halftime, I was able to capture both teams down by the end zone. And I held about a 20-second exposure for this shot, and it came out so cool. Going into this video, I had never shot 4x5 film before. I had been around people who have shot it, and I've learned a lot from them, and I've also learned a lot through the research I did prior to picking up this camera. And I really was going into this video with not super high expectations when I bought the camera. I ran it through the simple, standard reviews, making sure that it worked, and everything seemed to be firing and operating correctly, and the times of the shutter seemed to be correct. So I pretty much just said, let's do it. And I found Portra 160 to throw through it first, and I'm really happy I chose that, because I was pretty impressed with these images, actually, with how old this camera is, being a post World War II 1940s model of the Speed Graphic. I didn't have super high expectations. I really wanted it to work, but I figured if it didn't, it'd be beautiful on my shelf with all my other cameras. But it ended up being an absolute beast. And those portraits, the one of my dog Tegan and the one of Steven, the owner of Coastal Film Lab, they really blew me away with the atmosphere that they created in the image and how much detail there is. I was so blown away by almost just this movie scene of an image that it created with those two photos, as well as just the absolute, again, the atmosphere of the photo of the church. You really get this almost like emotional feeling from looking at that photo. At least I do. I thought it was, it's nothing to write home about, obviously. It was such a good time shooting these photos. I definitely wasn't out there creating any portfolio work by any means, but I'm happy I did it, because I really learned a lot about the process of shooting this camera, which is an absolute blast. Really slowing things down to the absolute maximum between loading the film into the film holders, getting everything packed, and showing up on a location with the mindset of only taking one photo, rather than with a digital camera, firing away at everything you see. 35 millimeter, you at least have 24 or 36 shots in it. You can freely use those camera formats as you please, where with large format, you kind of have to have a plan and know exactly what you're looking for and what you want to photograph going into a shoot. And it was so fun to like try that style, because obviously with this being my first time shooting large format, I had never really done that before. And it was a blast. I feel like I really provided a good variety of different photos and what this camera is capable, everything from portraits to landscapes to long exposures, which, speaking of that, photo came out so cool of the football game. And I definitely want to bust this camera out for some more long exposures. I had a blast taking that photo. It did take me nearly 45 minutes just to get that one photo, but I thought it was worth it. It makes you more alive in the moment. It makes you really pay more attention to the story you're trying to capture and what the location is and what kind of story it's going to tell. And I think that really, really is something beautiful that you don't get with a lot, or if any other camera or film formats. So I can't recommend this enough, except for the cost. If you're developing in a lab, it's so expensive. It's like one sheet is the price of one roll of film. So you're basically paying close to like $20 for one picture, which, it's fine, but not super sustainable. So something I'm going to be doing even more research into, because I've kind of been diving deep into this recently, and I think it's going to be my next step in my photography journey, is self-development and self-scanning. So I'm looking into getting all the equipment, all the chemicals to be developing at home. And, one thing I got to ask you all, maybe you could leave answer in the comments, is, I'm stuck between whether I should stick with camera scanning or flatbed scanning. So if you have a recommendation, please let me know in the comments. I would love to chat with you about that. And that's really where we're at. So looking forward to getting started on that. Looking forward to pumping out some more photos on this bad boy, and some of the Yashica. Actually, I've got a roll of Fuji Acros in there, and I'm really excited to pump out some photos with that film stock. I've been dying to shoot that film stock for like the last year, so finally got my hands on it and hoping to get some nice crispy black and white photos, baby. So stay posted, leave me the comment, tell me what your favorite photo from the large format was today, and just say hi. And like and subscribe if you're enjoying these videos, and I will be looking forward to seeing y'all in the next one. So until then, peace.